Alright, so like I said in my last post, I was supposed to talk about something else, this movie I had watched the other day, and I pushed this off into this entry because yesterday there seemed to be a pretty impromptu launch of a trailer that I want to talk about. So for this entry, we're going to talk about the film I originally wanted to discuss, and that's Raya and the Last Dragon. So this film came out this year, back in March. I finally got a chance to sit down with it. It's, of course, another entry into the Disney Pixar world, and I just gotta say, this is a fantastic film. I really, really enjoyed it from start to finish. It's got a lot of great voice acting. It's just a really fun watch. It's really fun to sit down with, and it's just another, it's another example of how good Pixar is at making films, and it's definitely something that's, I don't want to say unexpected, but it's kind of, it gives you that Moana feel, but with dragons, minus a lot of the music. Like, what I like most about what some of the Pixar films offer is that not all of them are your typical Disney musicals in a way. Like, they're not all Frozen or Moana. Nothing's wrong with those films, but then you get a film like this, or you get a film like Brave, or Wreck-It Ralph. Like, these are fantastic films without all of the musical components that are added onto it. Like, not everything has to be this full ballad that can become, Disney on Ice in a couple of years, you know what I'm saying? And even if it can't become that, like, it's still a good enough film to say, I don't even know if this as a live action would have been better than what it was. Kind of what they did with Mulan, because even Mulan has its few little musical moments, but it's not on the same level as the reboot they recently did last year. So if they ever were to do something similar with this batch of films, say Mulan was a 90s film, 20 years later they came out with a live action. So 20 years from now, if they did a live action, this is definitely a film that's on that level of Mulan, where it would be just way more action-packed and probably a little less cartoony. I don't know how they would be able to portray, say, the dragon. What I do like is the portrayal of dragons in this film. It's very unique, and it's very different than what I've seen for other portrayals of dragons in other stories. Like, it's definitely no Game of Thrones. It's very unique. I don't know if it has any mythology based around it. I know they're doing a lot of that where it comes to, like, Brave is based on some form of Irish mythology. Moana is based on something in Hawaiian mythology as well. I'm trying to think, there's another one. I mean, of course, Hercules, but that's going back to, like, the 90s. And, all these stories, they derive from somewhere. Beauty and the Beast is originally a French story. All these things, little by little, or French fairy tale, I should say. All these stories that they have, they derive from something. They have some sort of source material that it derives from, that they've created this world out of. And I don't know if this derives from anything, but even if it doesn't, it does lead the premise for... So the story it tells, how it ends, I don't think would lead into a sequel, but this realm could definitely create a sequel, something to extend the story or something to add to that story. This is probably going to be a short one because I really have nothing negative to say about the film, and everything's positive, and there's really... It's just something you have to sit down and watch. Like, if you're a Disney fan or if you're a Pixar fan, and if you like to make sure you're up to date with all of these films, this is definitely worth watching. If you liked Moana, if you liked Brave, this is that real nice mixture of all of them. It's got a very attractive kind of pulls you in story that makes you want to know what happens next, and it makes you want to follow the characters, and it makes every single thing that happens in the story that very, very meaningful. You really do feel for these characters. And I'm going to say, honestly, I don't think I've felt that way about one of these films since Brave. I'll always say that I feel like Brave was outshined by Frozen, and I think it's a superior film from the first Frozen. Granted, I also think the second Frozen is superior over the first Frozen, but that's just me. Again, that's my opinion. And yeah, this is definitely worth sitting through, and it's another Pixar or Disney film that's going to be a classic, and it's totally worth watching. If you haven't seen it already, I would totally check it out.